Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Virtua Fighter 5, released in 2006 on the Sega Lindbergh Yellow arcade hardware. And of course here's the screen that shows just the two new characters, and of course Akira Yuki, the main character of the series. And as you can see here, all the characters from Virtua Fighter 4 Final Tune return, with the addition of Blaze and Eileen here. And I'm going to play as Eileen in her version D costume. And of course we start with the new character Blaze here, so let's see what everyone has to say.
Start running now! Fight one! Ready?
And now the silliest thing I think that Blaze says is when, like, you start a match sometimes, on occasion, it seems like it's kind of random if he says it or not, but he'll be like, I've got the advantage, you've got nothing. Huh! And he really makes like a weird noise like that, I'm not kidding either, which is the weirdest thing, and of course he's always like the first stage, so it's always easy to defeat him, so like he doesn't really have any advantage. But yeah, this costume here is Eileen's costume D, and the way that I actually unlocked this in the arcade version is simply by finishing the game with her once. Because the actual costumes are locked by default, and you can only play as A and B when the machine is first started up for the very first time. And of course, here's Lei-fei from Virtua Fighter 4. And of course, it goes without saying, like I had mentioned in one of my more recent Virtua Fighter 4 videos, this game is honestly just breathtaking. There's no way around this. The graphics, the characters, the backgrounds, they're just amazing. And of course, as I had mentioned there, the characters are made up of around 40,000 polygons. And some of them even over 40,000 polygons. Now, to put that in a little bit into perspective, in the Xbox 360 game Gears of War, it only used 10,000 to 15,000 polygons for its characters in 2006. Then the game that was like kind of a mark for all other games to be measured, Crysis, the PC game, only used 24,000 polygons for its characters in 2007.
This is where you fall down! Fight one!
And of course, the funny thing is the actual character poly count was unsurpassed until Ninja Gaiden 2 in 2008. So it took Tomonobu Itagaki to actually make characters with a higher poly count than the ones in this game, which isn't surprising in my opinion, since he always made games of the utmost graphic fidelity, if you will. And I know I say this every time I like play a game against Jeffrey, but it seems like every time he's in a new game, he always ends up looking humongous. And especially like compared to Eileen and even what's his name, Blaze. Since Blaze is a rather small character, when you're playing Blaze against Jeffrey, Blaze just looks teeny tiny. It's like they're not even on the same scale, you would think. Like if you have two action figures and one of them is like a much smaller figure and the other one's like a much bigger scale. And of course, here's Pai-chan. And of course, this game runs at a nice 60 frames per second, which is very nice and fluid. And I've gone ahead and captured it at that, so everything is going to look really nice here. Now, as far as ports go, it only got ported to the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, but let me go over some of the various versions. The original version of Virtua Fighter 5 got released in Japan on November 26th of 2005. That was just Virtua Fighter 5, no version letter. Then the version A, which was the first revision, got released in July 12th of 2006. And then during the rest of 2006, you got the versions B, C, and D. They were kind of just incremental updates. They really didn't. They weren't really all that staggered, I guess, because I honestly don't have information on those specific. Now here's Lion.
I won't lose. Fight one. Ready?
And it got released in Europe in February 2007, which actually was the same month, February 8th of 2007, was when the Japanese PlayStation 3 version came out, which actually was based off of this same game, since this is running Virtua Fighter 5 version B, which was the third version, since you had the plain old vanilla version, version A, and then version B. And then there was the best version released December 11th of 2008 for PlayStation 3 in Japan, which of course is kind of like our greatest hits or platinum hits. Then, all the way in... Okay, it had these a little bit out of order, but it was October 30th of 2007 was the North American release on PlayStation 3, with the following year getting the greatest hits version. And, well, surprisingly, Europe actually got the game March 23rd of 2007 on PlayStation 3, and then not until October 26th of 2012 for their Essentials version, which I'm guessing was some kind of budget re-release.
Fight one. Ready? Go.
And then in Japan, on December 6th of 2007, they got the release on the Xbox 360, which was called Virtua Fighter 5 Live Arena, which was based off of version C. And then in North America, which actually had happened first, which was February 20th of that same year, 2007. So it took a whole 10 months before the game was released on Xbox 360 in Japan.
Ready? Go.
And then, of course, Europe got it on October 26th of 2007 for their Xbox 360 release. But yeah, as I said, it goes without saying this is one beautiful game. When you actually see this game in person running on the arcade hardware, you can definitely see that it's no surprise that when people went to the arcades, they were just surprised at how great this game looks. In fact, like its predecessor, Virtua Fighter 4 was considered to have the most amazing graphics in a video game when it first was released in arcades. According to 1UP in 2005, it was the best-looking fighter, or even game ever, with the writer Shivam Bhatt stating, Sega makes grand use of its new Lindbergh hardware, and it really shines through in their character models and level designs. In the city level, the fight takes place on wet pavement scattered with puddles all around. These puddles react and reflect in a remarkably realistic manner as the fighters run around the room. The temple level features fallen sakura blossoms that fly around whenever the characters move. Each level features lots of neat visual tricks like this, adding to the overall appeal. Like if you remember when I was fighting Pai-chan, there was butterflies flying around, which was pretty cool. And then he continues to say, of course, one only noticed things if they could peel their eyes off the amazing new character models. The characters in Virtua Fighter 5 are of that caliber with amazing realistic muscle tones, skin shading, sweat, and motions. Jeffrey benefits a ton from this upgrade as the individual hairs on his arms are shown in remarkable detail. And then he says, I lost a match simply because I was too busy staring at lei-fei and Lion move around the arena in a fluid dance. Even button mashing looks pretty as every move links into the next smoothly, without sudden jerkiness as the game reacts to each button press. And according to Gamers Extreme in 2012, the game's graphics still hold up to today's standards and in some ways still surpass them. And the lighting effects are absolutely phenomenal even by today's standards, and that was in 2012, considering that was like 6 years after this game came out. And of course, as far as the original version goes, this game is already 10 years old. But as far as this version goes, this year it's 10 years old. And as you saw there, I can tell you with no amount of, well, not much gloating on my part, because honestly, it took a lot of practice to do what you saw. But there was absolutely no editing in what you just saw. I actually just beat every character without losing. Well, except for this character, of course, here. And one thing I will say is, if you listen to the noises Doral makes, some of her like weird breathing noises honestly remind me of Alpha 152 from Dead or Alive 5. Yeah, Dead or Alive 4, I mean. And the one match I had with her in one of my playthroughs that basically were my quote-unquote practice for what you're seeing right now, she kind of did this move where she did flip kick, and then she rose higher in the flip kick, and that really reminded me of Alpha 152, because it's not really humanly possible to be up in the air with your foot in the air and then to move higher unless you could somehow fly, I guess. So, like, a lot of the moves that Doral does in this game kind of remind me of that, like, hardcore SNK boss type Alpha 152, but what I'm going to do with all of these playthroughs is every time I'm actually playing this game, I'm actually going to be recording it. So if I ever do beat Doral in this, since I know I mentioned it in every Virtua Fighter video, but I actually did beat Doral in Virtua Fighter 4, but unfortunately I never recorded it. Because, like, one of the matches, she ringed herself out, and in the other match, I actually legitimately beat her. But that's the only time in a Virtua Fighter after 3 that I actually beat Doral. And I definitely like this ending with the CG, and it, like, kind of zooms in on all their faces and shows them doing, like, a cool move. And it's really cool, like, having that intercut with the credits. The only thing I do kind of miss is the whole showing how you beat each character, which I always thought was a nice touch. But it's still kind of cool to have this little bit. And the only thing a lot of people complained about is Vanessa Lewis. If you look at her in Virtua Fighter 4, in my previous video, and you compare her to Virtua Fighter 5, they lightened her skin greatly, and I don't believe there's any kind of, like, general explanation of, like, why. But as you can see, I got first place in score and first place in time. And I had actually been testing the Lindbergh board and running some other games on this. So this is only the third playthrough since going into this game, because unfortunately all your high scores are lost when you pick a different game. Kind of like if I snap a different cartridge onto my Naomi. Unfortunately, all the high scores are lost, but, you know, it's one of those things. Like, if you're playing this game for a while, you're gonna best all your best scores. And, I believe another character I actually had done a really great playthrough of, which I'll probably try again one of these days and release this video, was Pai-chan. I was really good, and her style is nice and fluid in this game. But, yeah, Virtua Fighter 5 is an excellent game, especially the original arcade version. I highly recommend it. If you even played on your Xbox 360 or PS3, or if you can find an arcade that has it, give this game a shot. You won't regret it. Well, this has been another Game Nexus arcade video, and I shall see you later. Bye.